Apparently, I wasn't ready to go live. Oops. All right. So, good thing nobody's in the chat to see that. All right. So, as you guys can tell, new logo, new music, new look, kind of, sort of. Okay. So, in the future, my shows will now be more uh, pre-recorded, so that I can plan for any little mistakes. um, Reason for that is I'm no longer affiliated with Back of the Cereal Box. Um, we had some creative differences that I wasn't willing to agree with. Um, I still am following them. I still support the network because I do believe in what you know, the idea that Johnny had for his network. But just I support everybody who's still involved with Back of the Cereal Box. I love you guys. I'll miss you, but going forward, I'm going on my own. um, that being said, yes, I do still have a bit of a show planned. Um, but yes, I am planning a little to do more pre-recorded stuff so that I can plan a little bit better of what I'm going to talk about, who I want on the show, and just so that I can easily keep track of the monetization on both Facebook, YouTube, and wherever else I decide to put my content. I will do some videos here and there on both Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, and as well as YouTube. But as for the live shows, I may not do as many. I still want to going in the future, but it'll just be for special events like going to Comic Con, um, any social events, or fundraisers. Um, okay, that being said, let's get to the show. And I apologize, I don't have a co host today because it was kind of, I've been um, doing, back and forth of whether or not I was going to do one last show, but I will. Um, okay. I unfortunately don't have anybody in the chat right now, so maybe it's the time change. Maybe people think that 8 o'clock is 9 o'clock. That's okay. That's okay. So today, my husband and I took a little stroll through the mall, and we did a little bit of shopping. I bought a new wok, and because the old one was starting to get a little tattered, and I bought a new dress. Unfortunately, I cannot show a picture of it, which is blowing my mind with the way that StreamYard has changed. We'll get on that in a moment on how you guys can help support the channel. That's also another reason why going to more of a pre-recorded venture is probably better for me right now. All right, so the dress I'm holding up is a plaid, kind of a poofy sleeved dress that will look very nice with a waist cincher corset. Um, Anybody who is following my personal page, you guys can see that I bought it from Old Navy, and I love it. It's a beautiful dress. Also, yesterday, bought another outfit. The green outfit I'm wearing. I will post more pictures of those of the two other dresses that I bought. later. So yeah, follow me on Instagram. Make sure that you guys do so as well. So I'll get I'll let out all my personal um, all my all my information about social media in a moment. All right. Still nobody in the chat. Again, time change really sucks, doesn't it? Should we or shouldn't we X the time change? That's a good question because I'm living in Manitoba in Canada, middle of Canada. Saskatchewan doesn't have to do the time change. So, yeah, maybe there's something to that because I mean we're both farm community provinces. Makes me wonder why Saskatchewan is able to keep their times. Anyway, so November apparently is known for its interesting events. Apparently, on November 2nd, 1957, there was a Levelland UFO case. Texans, including fire chief and sheriff, see egg-shaped UFO. On November 2nd, 1957, the North Texas prairie town of Levelland, population around 10,000 at the time, was the scene of one of the better documented UFO incidences. Numerous witnesses reported seeing an extremely bright object, often described as egg-shaped and 100 feet long, often at or near the ground. Among the witnesses were many credible people, including the fire chief and the local sheriff. Some witnesses reported that the bright object landed or hovered on the road in front of their cars, causing the cars to experience electrical and motor problems such as dashboard gauges, lights going out in and out, engines sputtering, or even dying. Some witnesses reported a bright red object going across the sky at high speeds. You know, it's funny because yesterday, driving with my husband, we actually kind of experienced a little something like this, but we didn't see any egg-shaped UFOs. Our car, the blinker, the turn signal, decided to not work momentarily for us. Joe had to pull aside and turn the engine off and turn it back on, and apparently that fixed the issue. So I'm wondering if that would have fixed those issues that these people experienced. The U.S. Air Force was contacted and sent a team from Project Blue Book, which sounds like a good topic for a future episode. The U.S. Air Force was contacted and sent a team from Project Blue Book out to investigate. Project Blue Book was an ongoing Air Force investigation of UFO incidences from 1952 to 1970. Previous studies had been started in 1947. The investigation team discounted some of the witnesses as not reliable due to confession and or poor education, and their official conclusion was that the remaining witnesses had been experiencing ball lightning, also known as St. Elmo's fire, and not to be confused with the really bad movie of the 90s with a very catchy theme song. The weather that evening of the incident being ideal for it, that was their explanation for the visual phenomena as well as the effects on automobiles. Pretty much what they saw was like a glowing light surrounding an object. You guys can look it up on Wikipedia. It's not really that fascinating. Prior to closing Project Blue Book, the Air Force produced the Condon report summarizing the events that had been compiled and recorded, and concluded that there had been no evidence found of extraterrestrial activity. Critics of the investigation of the Loveland UFO and of Project Blue Book find it questionable that the Air Force did not interview 9 of the 15 witnesses, and the incident was not mentioned in the project's final report. Outside investigators claim that alleged ball lightning was not the cause of the phenomenon, as their study of weather reports indicated no sign of an electrical storm or conditions favorable for the ball lightning. They also expressed that their doubt about the ability of ball lightning to cause electrical disturbances and to even stop cars. Although, as of late, we have been experiencing like sun flares. So maybe there was some sun flares that happened around that time. Yeah. So Project Blue Book. Should I really touch on St. Elmo's fire phenomena? Maybe. We'll see. You guys are going to love this. November 12th, 1933 was the first known photograph of the Loch Ness Monster. On November 12th, 1933, Hugh Gray took the first known photos of the Loch Ness Monster, which we've touched on in a previous episode of Cryptid Crunch, if those of you remember. I kind of recall that the loch was a little small, or to me it seemed a little small for a giant monster to be living in. And what people may have been seeing is during low tide, the formation of 3 rocks or giant boulders look like humps of what could be the Loch Ness Monster, minus the giant neck. I don't know. Maybe there was something there that made it look like there was a brontosaurus head sticking out. Who knows? All right. Outside of maybe Bigfoot, Nessie, the Loch Ness Monster, is probably the most well-known cryptid in the English-speaking world. Claims of the existence of this monster date back possibly as far back as St. Columba, December 7th, 521 AD to June 9th, 597 AD. According to legend, Columba helped rescue a man from a water beast in Scotland. Oh. I missed that little detail in the first story of Nessie, so maybe I will have to revisit. Of course, humans had not yet invented photographs, and so it would not be for another nearly millennia and a half until evidence of the monster outside of eyewitnesses' accounts would come about. To that end, Hugh Gray would achieve his place among the world's most famous photographers of cryptids for his encounter on November 12, 1933. After attending church, he walked along Loch Ness, eventually noticing something strange happening in the water. He claims that a massive creature then emerged, prompting him to take pictures, only one of which actually showed something upon being developed. The famous photograph shows what appears to be an elongated creature surfacing, possibly splashing about, thereby blurring the image with possible flippers also identifiable. On the right side of the photograph, perhaps you can see what might be a head versus a tail on the left side. Or maybe it just shows a dog carrying a stick on its mouth, making its way to the water towards the cameraman. For better or worse, we have no definitive explanation of what it is actually in that photograph, but it was only the beginning. Throughout the 1930s and even in the present decade, more photographs and videos would emerge depicting the so-called monster. During the past 80 years, others would search for Nessie using everything from sonar to submersibles, and yet no irrefutable proof has yet materialized. Again, I believe it was low tide. They saw the 3 humps of the rocks or the boulders, and the brain just made up the rest. I don't know. I can't explain what the picture is actually of, because it's an old picture. All right. Oh, by the way, okay. So I'm reading this from from the website History and Headlines, which kind of throws in. I searched up paranormal happenings in November, and this is what came up. Okay, so some of the links that they tell you to look up, the creepiest videos on YouTube, part 3. I don't know if I want to trust that. Review of Thor Ragnarok, November 1st. 2017. No thanks. I've watched the movie. It was good. Don't get me wrong. But I'm more like, how does that fit in with paranormal? I don't know. November 3rd, 1954, Godzilla, the greatest movie monster of all time, is born. So, okay, those of you who don't know, Back of the Cereal Box did touch on it a little bit, so I'll give them a shout out for that. I don't know a whole lot about Godzilla. I love the movies, but I'm not like a total huge fan. So if you are a fan of Godzilla, check out the latest episode of Back of the Cereal Box. First known photograph of the Loch Ness Monster. Oh, yes, I got that. Oh, November 13th, 1974. The real Amityville Horror happened. On November 13th, 1974, the real story of the Amityville Horror began when Ronald DeFeo Jr. savagely murdered his entire family in the house featured in the popular horror story, which I've touched on in a previous episode of Cryptid Crunch. We all know the story behind the creepy kid ghost that was spotted. Yeah, that turns out that possibly may be fake. The house at 112 Ocean Avenue had been occupied by the DeFeo family since 1965. The family consisted of 2 parents, 2 daughters, and 3 sons. Ronald Jr. was the eldest at age 23 when he used a Marlin Model 336C lever action rifle, 35 Remington caliber, to shoot each parent and all 4 siblings, killing them all. Ronald, or Bush as he was to be called, ran to a local bar, Henry's Bar, and excitedly announced, "You got to help me. I think my mother and father are shot." Patrons of the bar accompanied Ronald back to the house, saw the dead parents, and called the Suffolk County Police. Police quickly found the 4 dead siblings and took Ronald to the police station for his own safety, in case the murderer wanted to kill him as well. Under police questioning, Ronald first said that a mob hitman was responsible for his inconsistent account of events. Under police questioning, Ronald first said that a mob hitman was responsible, but his inconsistent account of events made the police suspicious of his story. The following day, under continued interrogation, Ronald Jr. confessed to the crimes. The real story was that Ronald had killed his family, taken a bath, got rid of the evidence the best he could, bloody clothes, rifle, ammo, etc., and went to work before his act at the bar later. Wow. Despite the insanity defense reinforced by testimony that Ronald Jr. was also a drug abuser, he was convicted of 6 counts and 6 counts of second-degree murder and sentenced to 25 years to life for each count to be served concurrently, meaning he could be paroled in accordance with rules covering the 25-year part of the sentence. Actually, he did die in jail in 2021. His parole was denied each time he had a parole hearing. Researchers find it odd that all victims were face down, since certainly after the first shots, the other victims should have been alerted. Also, the neighbors did not hear the 8 shots, 2 per parent, 1 per sibling. Plus, no clear motive has been established and will never, unfortunately, be known. As Ronald Jr.'s accounts have changed, he changed his story several times over the years. Some of these accounts have DeFeo claiming his sister was the accomplice, eagerly grabbed at by some investigators that think that the rapidity of the murders and lack of fleeing or fighting by the victims indicates more than one assailant. I don't know. I'd have to actually talk to a police officer or a police detective to see if what they find about the case. The idea that Ronald did it for insurance money stems from his asking a police officer early in the investigation how to make an insurance claim, but this theory is by no means definitive. The novel, The Amityville Horror by Jay Anson, was published in 1977, an incredible string of 14 movies about the book and incident, loosely based on the incident. An alleged subsequent haunting of the house has been released from 1979 through, well, most recently, the movie with Ryan Reynolds, which actually was really good. I loved it. My husband still bugs me because after the movie, I did want to sleep with the light on a little bit. But to be fair, his dad, after watching Aliens, drove with the dome light on in his car. So I'm not completely a baby. A staple feature of these fictional books and movies is the premise that the development of the house is located in was placed on an Indian Native American burial ground or other such cemetery, which has no basis in fact. I mean, I think a lot of our homes are put on an possible alien burial, Indian burial ground. The married couple featured in the book and movie, whose family was haunted by ghosts of the people buried there, have since passed from natural causes. Other books have been written about the incident, as well as the alleged haunting of the real house, and several paranormal investigators have taken place. The Lutz family that was haunted in real life, and in the movie really did bring the demonologist to study in their haunted home. The real house still stands, but it has been renovated and the address changed to foil curious fans of the book and movies. But the way the house looks now is posted online. All right, let's see what else. Justice League action movie review. No thanks. November 16th, 1974, humans attempt to communicate with aliens. On November 16th, 1974, a radio signal was sent from Earth to the star cluster known as M13 in an attempt to communicate with whatever intelligent life forms may exist in the area of the universe. The single message was sent from the Arecibo radio telescope in Puerto Rico via FM frequency modulated radio waves. Incredibly optimistic of the questionable intelligence, people that arranged this message, the target stars are 25,000 light years away. A message of just under 3 minutes duration, consisting of 1,679 binary digits at a power of 1,000 kilowatts. The convoluted reasoning that went into the choice of message contained the fact that the number 1679 is semi-prime, meaning it's the sum of two prime numbers arranged in 73 rows and 23 columns. We're expecting aliens to be intelligent enough to decipher that. And I give it the benefit of the doubt that there are aliens smarter than us. I don't know. Believe it or not, the other way of arranging the digits in 23 rows and 73 columns is considered gibberish by the scientists. Scientists such as Dr. Frank Drake and Carl Sagan were consulted about forming the message, and elements of the message refer to the atomic numbers of the elements that make up DNA. Oxygen, carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, and phosphorus. There are actually several more complicated messages contained in the numbers, which presumably any intelligent life form could figure out. Yeah, because if it was arranged in a different way, we may be telling them to go F themselves. Since the message will take 25,000 years to reach its intended targets, a reply would not reach Earth for a total of, this was done in, I'm not sure when this article came out. But yes, give or take 50,000 years, give or take a decade or so. Talk about optimism. Thus, the whole idea of the message is basically a self-gratifying stunt, showing the world how smart our scientists are. Which is why we should always be listening to our scientists. Of course, the question demands to be answered. Is it a good idea to try to communicate with beings in outer space? In 2010, Stephen Hawking, supposedly the smartest man on Earth, said that the idea is idiotic, as any alien life form advanced enough to receive correctly interpret, reply to, and perhaps travel to Earth would be all in probability enslave or destroy mankind. I, for one, welcome our alien overlords. The odds of a benevolent buddy out there somewhere are so small as to be ridiculous. Here on Earth, anytime a life form or civilization thinks it is superior to another, bad things happen to the weaker one. Ask Native Americans for proof. Many others, such as messages, have been sent by people into space, both intentional attempts to contact aliens and transmissions to and from our manned and unmanned spacecrafts. Um, Plus, we have two astronauts stuck in our up in space right now. I mean, if there is alien life, it would be nice for them to, come help. In the Voyager interstellar spacecraft launch in 1977, golden records bearing information about Earth and mankind were included, so any aliens that happen upon the spaceships can learn all about where these spaceships come from. In fact, Pioneer 1 and Pioneer 2 also carried such time capsules and golden records. Thus, we have electronic and physical messages sent out willy-nilly into space with no idea whatsoever if it is a good idea or not. Makes my brain hurt. Well, if aliens do not have a record player or radios, all this effort would not matter. Yeah, we really need to figure out a better way to communicate with aliens because, maybe by now they're on a different audio wave. Maybe digital is the best way. I don't know. They may be too advanced even for digital. Oh, here's a good one. November 23rd, 1953, UFO captures U.S. fighter jet. On November 23rd, 1953, United States Air Force F-89C Interpreter fighter jet was scrambled to intercept an unknown radar contact over Lake Michigan. The jet, both crewmen, pilot and radar operator, were never seen or heard from again. Was this Air Force jet and its crew abducted by aliens? You might be the judge. On the fateful day, First Lieutenant Felix Montclair Jr. was the pilot, and Second Lieutenant Robert Wilson was the F-89's radar operator. The Northrop F-89 Scorpion was first-generation, well-weathered jet interceptor, powered by two turbojet. I am going to hear it from my husband later. Two turbojet engines and capable of 635 miles per hour, able to intercept enemy bomber day or night in all weather, utilizing air-to-air guided missiles to shoot the enemy down, including the first air-to-air nuclear explosive missiles. All right, let's get to the point. Ground radar intercept controllers vectored the F-89 to the target blip and watched as the two blips on their screen merged into one over Lake Superior. They continued on as one blip until leaving the range of radar at Kinross Air Force Base in Upper Peninsula of Michigan. No other information about the fate of the F-89 and his crew is available. Initial explanations were that the unknown radar contact was a Canadian aircraft. I skipped something, though. The F-89 proved to be considerably faster than the Lockheed... Oh, I'm so sorry. Through all that technical babble, I definitely skipped something. Yeah, the F-89 proved to be considerably faster than the Lockheed F-94 developed from the... Yeah, no, I didn't. Okay, this article definitely... Okay, let's skip this article for now, and then I'll find a better article in just a moment, because yeah, there's too much technical babble that kind of confuses me. No, this is a good story. On November 26, 1977, the people of southern Britain were astonished to find their afternoon televisions hijacked by an entity claiming to be Vrillon. Vrillon. Some television viewers reported the entity's name to be Gillen or Astrion. Hijacking a television signal, even for only 6 minutes, 5:10 p.m. to 5:16 p.m. their time, is highly unusual to say the least. That the hijacker claimed to represent the Ashtar Galactic Command is even more bizarre. The hijacked signal came from the Huntington transmitter, a type of transmitter that does not receive its signal via cable, but rather one that rebroadcasts a signal sent from another transmitter. Thus, this particular transmitter is much more susceptible to being hijacked than a landline-fed transmitter. The hijacking was of the audio signal only, with normal video continuing during the incident. The buzzing voice of Vrillon, or whomever, told viewers that they have only a short time to learn to live together in peace, and that all your weapons of evil must be removed. I wonder if I can find. There's got to be a video on this. Someone has it recorded. Has to have it recorded. News of the event quickly spread throughout Britain and all over the world. British authorities were quick to declare the hijacking a hoax that had been perpetrated by someone with a radio transmitter that overrode the television signal. In spite of the quick explanation, no such hoaxers were found, and the perpetrator remains unknown to this day. Unless, of course, it really was Ashtar Galactic Command. Today, true believers in the UFO community either believe the incident was a real alien interaction, or at least that it might have been. What do you guys think? Did they find the communications? Yeah. So that is very interesting. All of that is pretty interesting. Let's, I'm realizing my mistake on where I chose to broadcast. I think all my viewers were on my Scholar Productions page, so I apologize for those of you who are going to be watching this on the rerun. I chose to do it on my new page. I chose to broadcast on my new page because I want to try to get my videos out a little bit more, focus on this channel. But don't worry, my viewers, you guys are important to me. Hence also why I chose the change in format, because I want to make sure that I can build up where I need to be, and include you guys in the fun, in the process. So if you like this insanity that you are hearing right now, and you guys are a support, you guys do want to support me and see where this change goes, you guys can help support the show. buymeacoffee.com/geeky discoveries. Again, that's buymeacoffee.com/geeky discoveries. Excuse me. All right, let's look up one more time that fighter jet that disappeared. fighter jet. Taken by UFO. Let's see what the real story is behind this. Wow! Thank you, Google. Watch USS Nimitz Tic Tac UFO declassified video. Oh, that was posted by the History Channel. Fox News, Canada releases image of UFO down by US fighter jet. Do I trust that? Fighter jets pursue UFO. Posted on YouTube. Pentagon UFO videos. Apparently, you need to be really, okay. Fighter jet captured by UFO. U.S. Air Force has reported a UFO jammed a fighter jet's radar. Where's the Wikipedia? In February 2023, an F-22 Raptor shot down a UAP over the Yukon. That's good to know. 2 days before UAP-23, another UAP was shot down in U.S. airspace off the northern coast of Alaska. Lake Huron, a third UAP was shot down over Lake Huron on February 12th. Yeah. Those aren't what I'm looking for. Did they make this up? All right. Oh. In 1968, parts of a jet aircraft were reportedly recovered on the shore of Lake Superior on the Canadian side, though the parts were not identified, and in any case, the Canadians deny having any such parts. In 2006, a Great Lakes Dive Company hoax was perpetrated on the public with fake news reports of a dive team having located the wreckage of Lieutenant Moncla's jet. Expert salvagemen and UFO investigators alike have claimed the reports of finding the lost interceptor were indeed false. So, yeah, ground radar intercepts controller vectored F-89 to the target blip and watched as two blips on their screen merged into one over Lake Superior and continued on as one blip until leaving the range of the radar at Kinross Air Force Base on the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. No other information about the fate of the F-89 and its crew is available. But, okay, so with all that, how do we know what actually happened then? We don't. We don't. Initial explanations were that the unknown radar contact was a Canadian aircraft, but this has been denied over and over again by Canadians. It was an air balloon. Presumably, Moncla got vertigo and some such disabling effect and crashed his jet into the deep water of Lake Superior. Although radar tracking did not verify that theory, and no wreckage has been found. So, did a UFO take a fighter jet? Should we demand that we get our fighter jet back? Who knows? All right. Well, this was an interesting show for sure, and I apologize for the lack of uh, communication. um, I I really love doing these shows. I really do love. I really do love doing these live shows, but it's better when I have a group of my usual communicators talking with me and making funny remarks. So I apologize. I did not mean to. I did not mean to um, uh, tell you misinformation of when I was going live or what channel. But I hope you guys had a fun time anyway, despite the fact that I made the decision to leave the network because it was something that was going to happen sooner or later anyway. I was playing around with the idea, um, although I was kind of hoping to leave in December, wait out the year. But those of you who are still involved with the network, I still will follow you and cheer you guys on. Again, I liked the idea of what Johnny was bringing to the table with it. Just unfortunately, we couldn't agree on where we saw the future of this show. So I'm going to take it to a different level, and I'll be able to easily be able to keep track of things myself. And I look forward to bringing you more content, pre-recorded, and just fun little side videos on all my social media. Those of you who are new followers, you can follow me here on Geeky Discoveries. And you can also follow me on all my other social media platforms. I like to call myself the social media socialite. I am on TikTok. I am on YouTube. I'm on Facebook and Instagram. I do have an X account, but I barely use it. I am also on Threads, but again, I'm still new to that platform. But if you guys want to message me, give me ideas for future shows, please feel free to communicate with me. I welcome all the messages, and again, if you are wanting to be a sponsor of the show, or even just drop a coin or two, even a star on Facebook, that would help greatly, so that I can renovate my spare bedroom and make it into an office, and you won't see these crazy wacky screens that you see before you. You can help support the show at buymeacoffee.com/geekydiscoveries. That is buymeacoffee.com/geekydiscoveries. I appreciate everybody who has followed me thus far. It's been an eventful 4 years, and I look forward to even more podcasts and craziness in the future. You guys have a great night, day, wherever you see this. And I look forward to the many fantastic ideas that will be coming out from you guys. Hope you guys have a good night.